They called him a simp, a joke, a man too soft for this world. All because he loved his wife, selfishly. But love, real love, doesn't ask for permission. And when their own homes started falling apart, guess whose door they came knocking on? This is not a love story. This is a story about a man who was mocked for doing things right. And how, in the end, the joke wasn't on him. His name was Tund, 34, solid, a man of discipline and quiet conviction. He had a good job, a small circle, and one obsession, his wife, Dammy. From the outside, their marriage was too sweet to be real. Tund was the type to send flowers to her office for no reason. The type to cancel plans with the boys just to stay home and rub her feet after work. He remembered her shoe size, her cycle, her mother's birthday. He said, "I love you," like it was his morning prayer. And for that, he became the running joke in every WhatsApp group chat. They called him the simp. Bro, are you sure she didn't jazz you? A beg, Tund is just doing excess. He day fall hand for all of us. Now man be this. He smiled through it all, never once defended himself. He didn't need to. His wife's smile was enough answer. But what they didn't know was that beneath that smile, Dammy was hiding something. And Tund? He already knew. Dammy was laughter in a bottle. Graceful, kind, the sort of woman who made rooms warmer just by walking into them. But that night, one quiet Thursday, Tund saw something. Her phone lit up at 11:43 p.m. She was in the shower. The name that appeared? Pastor Mike. But it wasn't the name that caught him. It was the message. I still think about that night. I shouldn't, but I do. Always. Tund stared at the screen, chest hollow. The message disappeared. Deleted. He didn't ask. Didn't confront. Instead, he did what no one expected. He loved her harder. Flowers the next day. Breakfast in bed. A handwritten note that read, "I'd still choose you, even with my eyes closed." To the outside world, he looked like a fool. To Dammy, he looked like a man she didn't deserve. That night, she cried beside him. Said it was stress, work, hormones. He held her anyway, but something inside him shifted. He wasn't a fool. He wasn't blind. He was playing a long game. Because sometimes the best revenge is letting someone watch you love them right, even after they betray you. But Tund wasn't planning to forgive forever. He was just waiting. They say time reveals all things. But in Tund's case, a dinner party did. It was Dammy's idea. Invite her colleagues. Break bread. Show them the perfect marriage she kept bragging about. Tund played along. He was the attentive husband, pulling out chairs, topping up wine, smiling on cue. But he was watching how Pastor Mike leaned too close when she laughed, how Dammy's smile faltered when their eyes met, how quickly she jumped in to praise Tund like a script she'd memorized out of guilt. "My husband's the reason I still believe in real love," she said. And then it happened. The slip. Remember that weekend at the retreat? Pastor Mike said, half laughing, "You were so." Dammy's fork dropped. Her face paled. Tund's heart slowed. Retreat. There'd been no retreat. Not for her. She recovered quickly, changed the subject. But the damage was done. Later that night, Tund stood alone in the kitchen, replaying it all. The message, the timing, the lie she told, and the man bold enough to remember it in public. Still, he didn't explode. He walked back to the room, kissed her on the forehead, and whispered, "Whatever you're hiding, I'll find it. And when I do, I hope you remember that I gave you every chance to tell me first." She didn't respond, didn't ask what he meant. She just curled into his chest and fell asleep. But Tund stayed awake. The man they called Simp had just begun to dig. And what he'd find would burn everything. You don't look through someone's phone unless you're ready to lose sleep. Tund wasn't ready, but he did it anyway. She had changed her password recently, from his birthday to their wedding anniversary. How poetic. He waited till she slept, carefully lifted the phone from her side of the bed. Face ID worked on the second try. Her lashes fluttered, but she didn't stir. And then he saw it. Not messages, not pictures. An app, hidden under a fake calculator icon. Inside were voice notes. Dozens. Laughter. Flirtation. Then something colder. Tund's a good man, but being loved by him feels like being smothered. He treats me like I'm porcelain, but I want fire. I want to feel alive. It felt like ice down his spine. Each clip chipped away at the man he used to be. And one voice message, labeled "just in case I disappear," made his blood stop cold. "If this ever gets out, tell Tund I'm sorry. Tell him he was the only real thing I ever had. But I couldn't keep pretending. I needed to feel like I had choices, even if they destroyed me." She recorded that 2 months into their marriage. The same month she got pregnant. The same month she miscarried. A wave of realization hit him. He wasn't being mocked by the world for loving her. She was mocking him for how deeply he believed in her. But here's the thing about men like Tund. They don't rage. They build. And now, he had the blueprint. Not for revenge. For transformation. He would give her the space she claimed she craved. He'd let her taste a life without his love. And then, only then, would she understand the weight of what she lost. The man called a simp was about to become a silent storm. Tund didn't confront her. Not yet. He woke up the next morning before her, made breakfast like he always did, 2 eggs, light pepper, no onions because she hated the texture. Kissed her forehead, told her she looked beautiful. She smiled. She always did. But this time he smiled too, just not for her. She thought she had one. Thought she had him wrapped in blind love and silence. But Tund had entered the quiet part of rage, where every move looks kind, but every step is measured. He started watching her closer. What time she left work. Which shirts she wore on Fridays. Always the one that made her feel seen. Who she texted the moment he walked into the bathroom. He wasn't guessing anymore. He was documenting. He took notes, real ones. Created a second phone. Synced her hidden app through a background mirror. He knew where the voice notes were being backed up now. Google Drive folder called, free at last. Oh, the irony. And while she made plans to find herself, Tund began to build a version of himself that didn't need her at all. He started hitting the gym again, reconnected with old friends she'd called toxic, opened a new business account, quietly moved 30% of their joint savings. He wasn't just preparing to leave. He was preparing to be followed. And while she rehearsed her exit, he was rewriting the narrative, one where he was the one who outgrew her, where he wasn't the fool who begged for love, but the man she'd never deserve again. The storm hadn't come yet, but he had begun to stir the clouds. Tund started changing the script. No more asking if she'd be home for dinner. No more, let me know when you get there. No more kisses on her way out the door. He still smiled, still played the part, but now it was her watching him. She asked if he was okay. He said he was great. Started going out, coming back late, with nothing to explain. The first time he left his phone face down on purpose, she noticed. The second time, he left it unlocked. That made her nervous. She scrolled through and found nothing. No messages, no calls, no names she didn't recognize. Because Tund wasn't getting revenge by playing her game. He was erasing her script entirely. She came home one night and found him making jollof rice. Her favorite, but with a bottle of wine she didn't like and 2 glasses set. "Who's coming over?" she asked. He smiled. "You'll see." Her heart dropped. But when her childhood friend, Amaka, walked in, someone she'd cut off years ago, someone she never wanted to see again, Tund just said, "People change, don't they? Or maybe they just reveal themselves." He was no longer afraid of her secrets. He was rebuilding his life in full view of her fear. She tried seduction, tried softness, tried memory. But now, Tund had tasted clarity. And when you've lived in fog long enough, light becomes a kind of addiction. She was slipping, and for the first time, she knew it. She came home early, unannounced, like she used to when she wanted to catch Tund doing something wrong. But this time, she found something worse. Peace. Tund was sitting in the living room, laughing with her father. The same man who once told him he'd never be enough. Now, they were drinking, bonding brotherhood without her. She stood there, invisible, for the first time in her own home. Her father looked up and said, "Your husband is a good man. You were lucky to have him." Past tense. That stung. That night, she confronted Tund, accused him of trying to hurt her. He looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Do you know what's worse than being cheated on? Being good to someone and watching them waste it." She broke. Tears, apologies, promises to do better. But this time, Tund didn't comfort her. He listened. He nodded. And then he said, "You don't fix a house that's already burned down. You build a new one." She asked if he was seeing someone else. He smiled. I'm seeing myself. For the first time. He walked away that night. Not out the door, but from the version of himself that used to beg for love. And in that moment, she realized. The man she mocked for loving her too much was gone. The tide is turning, and so is his power. Chapter 8. The Converts. YouTube script, male POV. The same men who once laughed at Tund, called him soft, whipped, beta. They started sliding into his DMs. Bro, how did you do it? Your woman looks at you like she saw God. My wife left me last month. Can we talk? The irony wasn't lost on him. Tund, the simp, now the sage. He didn't say much, just posted videos of his new life. Smiling, healthy, respected. Not because he changed who he was, but because he stopped giving love to people who didn't value it. Then came the dinner. One of his old boys, Deli, invited him out. The same guy who once told him, women only respect men who don't love them too much. Now, Deli was divorced, broke, and on his third attempt at therapy. At dinner, Deli looked broken, but humbled. Tund, teach me, you beg. I've lost everything. I don't even know how to speak to a woman without trying to control her. Tund smiled and said, start by healing the boy inside you. The one who thought love had to be earned with pain. There was silence. Even Deli's pride had nothing to say. Because in the ashes of mockery, Tund built a blueprint, not just for love, but for manhood. Now the question is, will he help them, or let them drown in the pride they once weaponized? Tund never wanted revenge, but life has a way of balancing ledgers. One by one, the men who mocked him came knocking. They came with failed marriages, kids who flinched when they raised their voices, and women who had chosen peace over partnership. He didn't gloat, didn't throw their insults back at them. He taught, not like a preacher, but like a man who had bled, healed, and learned. He hosted small gatherings in his home. No Instagram reels, no ring lights, just truth. They spoke of love, respect, vulnerability, of how men are taught to conquer women, not cherish them. One night, Deli broke down. I never knew how to love her, bro. I only knew how to own her. And Tund? He didn't pat him on the back. He didn't excuse it. He handed him a journal and said, start by writing everything you wish your father had told you. Silence again, because in that moment, these so-called alpha men realized the strength they mocked in Tund was the very strength they lacked. The courage to be soft without breaking. By the time the sessions ended, they left with more than advice. They left with a mirror. And Tund? He walked back to his wife that night, kissed her forehead, and smiled, because now the world understood something he always knew. Loving a woman, well, doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Tund stood by the window, watching his wife water the garden. Years ago, men called him soft, a simp, a fool for putting his woman first. Now, they called him a teacher, a model, a man of substance. Funny how time has a way of revealing who was right all along. His home wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful, and that peace was power. You remember how it started? Choosing to listen instead of shout, to serve instead of dominate, to heal instead of hide behind pride. They had survived miscarriages, financial lows, even the betrayal of family. But love, it stayed, because he chose it, every day without shame. One afternoon, a young man named Folan knocked on his door. Freshly divorced, bitter, angry. They all leave, man, no matter what you do. Tund didn't answer immediately. He led him to the back porch, poured him a drink, and said, then maybe it's not about what you're doing. It's about who you are when you're not performing. That hit, because love isn't a performance. It's presence, patience, practice. Fola cried, and for the first time, Tund saw himself, not as a joke, but as a mirror for other men's broken reflections. It takes strength to fight for a woman, he said, but it takes more strength to stay soft for her, even when the world calls you weak. That was the lesson. That was the legacy. Not loud, not flashy, but steady, sacrificial, and sacred. Because in the end, the strongest man is the one who can love without fear and lead without pride. This is Tales of Time, where real men rise from the ashes by choosing love no matter the cost.